Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
To our new passengers, aloha and welcome aboard.
Hey everybody, welcome to ResortLoop.com. I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar.
And this is a very special episode, number 38.
I'm very excited about this one. This is very cool.
This is going to be informative and fun, I have a feeling.
I have no doubt it'll be fun. We'll see about the informative part. But real quick, before we get started, we've got a shout out to just all of our listeners all around the world.
Every single one.
A record day today. A record week on downloads. We are just so thrilled that you guys are out there listening and hopefully enjoying the show, not just downloading them and then smashing that CD into a billion pieces.
They're downloading, criticizing, making their list.
Trying to figure out where exactly we live so they can come get us. But seriously, we are humbled by the response from everybody. And thank you so much for a great week and a great day today. So thanks, everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. It's been more than we ever expected, and we're having a great time.
So, Tim, what's the show about today?
Well, today's show, and we've talked about this for a while, that we should do a show on the DVC, Disney Vacation Club. The only problem is I don't know a whole lot about DVC. I don't have it. I know kind of what it is, but I'm not an expert.
I stayed at one once.
Yeah, but you paid. You weren't a member.
No. That's all I got. I stayed at one once.
So we thought we'd bring on a couple experts.
Yes, we do. We have Safari Mike. Hi, Mike.
Jumbo, how are you guys tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited to talk about DVC.
Excellent. We've got to keep him, steered toward DVC. He's gonna try and swing us over to Animal Kingdom. I have a feeling, but we're gonna try and keep you going DVC one.
We will stay the course.
And we have another. This is the first time we've ever had two guests at one time.
This is very exciting. We're pushing my limits of technology here.
And your computer is smoking.
It is. It's rather warm right now
as we speak.
Give me a tan.
But we'd like to welcome a special guest, Sean Duffy. We know him from somewhere. Don't we?
Do. I think we just heard an announcement about him just a couple minutes ago.
Yes, we did. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, howdy, hey. How's it going?
It's going outstanding.
Good. Glad to be on.
Glad to have you on.
Absolutely.
So, Tim, why don't you fire off your questions? Tim has so many questions for you guys. Notice how I threw him under the bus?
I did.
I saw that bus coming. I just threw him right under.
Look at that muffler up there. That is amazing. Anyway, so why don't you guys, we'll start with Sean. Tell us, give us a brief explanation what the DVC is for people who maybe only heard of it before.
Well, as many people might know or may not know, that DVC is the best kept secret in Walt Disney World. And honestly, it's really probably the worst kept secret in Walt Disney World because you see it everywhere. But in all honesty, it's Disney's version of a timeshare, and most people will regard it as probably the best timeshare out there. Probably just because it's Disney itself, it holds its value better than most other timeshares. But in a nutshell, DVC encompasses Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Vero Beach in Florida, and Aulani in Hawaii, and also in South Carolina. And the place is escaping my head at the moment. Hilton Head, thank you.
You're welcome.
So there's multiple locations for DVC right now. No international, so it's just in the United States. But the DVC basically is it's a home away from home. So it's a vacation home that you purchase a small interest in. So you'll purchase points that'll allow you to stay in a multitude of resorts. So your whole stay is going to be based on how many points that you own and what resort is your home resort. And you'll have booking privileges at your home resort at 11 months. But we can get into that a little bit more. But in a nutshell, DVC is just an easy way to vacation in Walt Disney World, and it makes you feel like you own a piece of the magic, so they say. So That's just the quick overall DVC right there.
Okay, Mike, how did you decide to get in the DVC? Did you go to one of the presentations? Do you have something like in your local city? How did you go about it?
Sure. So basically, I've been a Disney nut since the mid '70s, and we were going all the time. And you would see the DVC people, trying to get you to buy points at the boardwalk or wherever. And I was aware of it right from the get-go of what they were doing with Old Key West and all that kind of stuff. I kind of was dragged into it. My brother was the first one to purchase it, and he loved it. And he, finally convinced me, and I sat down and I sort of figured out how much it actually costs to stay a week at a particular resort, whether it's a moderate or what have you, versus what it actually costs to buy points. And when you figure it out mathematically, you figure out that after about 5 or 6 trips, it sort of pays for itself after that. And, so in essence, for the next 40 or so years, you're basically going to Disney for free, at least the resort. So, that sort of convinced me to go ahead and do it. And I did it. And I did it by resale.
Oh, okay, by resale. Excellent.
Yep.
Now, who did you go through for that?
I think it's ResortLoop.com. Okay. There are a couple of pretty reputable resale people. To be honest, I would never buy it directly from Disney. The price is just much higher than what you can get on resale. I mean, are you going to be able to get the new Grand Floridian Resort? Of course not. But you can get a pretty good deal on things like Animal Kingdom Lodge, Saratoga Springs, Old Key West, and things like that.
Oh, okay. So the resale guys do have some of the newer resorts, right?
Yeah, you could probably buy resale in I haven't looked it up, but you could probably get Bay Lake Tower resale.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you can't get Grand Floridian because they haven't even started selling it, or they just started selling it. But they've come pretty quick. I know you can get Kidani pretty easily.
Wow.
You can get, pretty much anything. Probably Bay Lake Tower, but like I said, I haven't really done any investigation as to whether I could buy points from there, because I've heard some bad things about Bay Lake Tower, but maybe we could talk about that later on. But, I would love to buy like Wilderness Lodge or something like that for sure. Mm-hmm. And you can definitely.
Yes.
Great. Sean, did you happen to sit on one of the presentations that you see them advertising like in the hotels and things there?
Yes and no. I've overheard them.
Okay.
I've actually never gone through one of the presentations. I do know a little bit about the presentations. I knew that, initially what they'll do is they'll sit you down at the resort, and then they're just going to give you an overall view of, what DVC is. And at that point, they're going to try to schedule you to go to Saratoga Springs and look at one of the model rooms that they have. Or this is probably before Bay Lake Tower, but they would take you down there, and that's when they're going to really give you the presentation on purchasing DVC. And usually, typically, they'll give you some fast passes for sitting through the presentation, but it's not a hard sell. They're not going to hold your hand down there, make you sign the contract. They're a little more lenient. They're not going to pressure you into purchasing it, but they do want you to buy it. So I purchased mine via resale, but.
How long is the presentation about?
I believe it's around 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
Don't quote me on that, but I think it's around 2 hours.
So let me ask you guys this question. So you've decided, hey, this is something we want to take a look at. You've crunched the numbers. You've taken a look at, and they, correct me if I'm wrong, but you buy your points individually, right? It's a dollar amount per point. Is that correct? Okay, so you've decided. How do you decide on how many points to buy?
We initially bought about 100 points. We bought exactly 100 points. Figuring that it's about for the off season, it's about roughly about 100, a little bit over 100 points a week.
Oh, okay.
We quickly determined that was not enough, and we added another 60. So that is pretty much how you if you go on there and you look, if you're thinking you're going to spend, take one room for a week, it's going to cost you probably about, I don't know, would you say, Sean, about 120 points? Does that sound about right?
For a studio, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, since we were talking about it before, I'm looking online. You could definitely buy Bay Lake Tower resale already.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, you'd be surprised. Sarah, the Grand Floridian will probably show up within a month or two on there on resale.
Really? Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. And I think Bay Lake Tower was like a month later. Someone actually had it on for resale.
Wow. So they changed their mind, or maybe something came up where they decided to get out.
Yeah, and it's you're going to take a hit on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big hit.
How did you guys decide on the quote unquote home resort? Now, the home resort isn't someplace you have to. That's the only place you can go, right?
No, for me, initially when I went in, I joined Wilderness Lodge because my wife and I loved the Wilderness Lodge. So we figured that was going to be the place we're going to spend most of our time at. So I was looking on the resale market probably for about 2 months before I finally found a contract that I liked, that was reasonable, and I only purchased 50 points at the time. So it was the Wilderness Lodge that we wanted, and I knew 50 points wasn't going to get me more than a couple of nights, but I knew I could build from there. But I had, with the contract, it was 50 points per year, but they had 50 points banked from the year before. So in essence, I had 100 points for the first year. So I knew that if I wanted to go the following year, I can always borrow 50 from the following year, and I'd have another year that I'd have 100 points. So you really, with DVC, you really need to try to buy where you want to stay, spend most of your time, because you have that 11 months to 7 month home advantage window when booking. So when it comes to Christmas time, a lot of people want to go to Disney World during Christmas week or any time in December. If you're gonna go there for Christmas Eve, you're gonna book your trip January 24th. That's the first day you're gonna be able to book your vacation there. And believe it or not, at some of the resorts, that's even within that first couple of months, that Christmas week could be gone already. So if you're a type of person that wants to spend time there during Christmas, you really need to book where you want to stay. Otherwise, you're going to be very disappointed.
So you can book your home resort 11 months ahead, but if you wanted to stay at a different DVC resort,
Right.
you can only book that how far in advance?
It's 7 months. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So when I chose, I was much more sort of just going by what was cheapest. You have to also realize that you pay a fee on a yearly basis of like a maintenance type of fee, which is a few $100, or it could be even more than that depending on what the resort was. And Saratoga Springs is kind of light on that particular fee. And we also got a good contract for Saratoga. Saratoga Springs is not really necessarily in great demand, so you can get that relatively cheaply compared to, say, Bay Lake Tower or something like that. So that's how I chose. And unlike, I guess, Sean, I don't really go during the high holiday period. I don't really go during July 4th. I don't really go during the Christmas season. So it didn't really affect me as much. I still get to stay. I only stayed at Saratoga Springs really once in all these years since I've had but I've stayed at Kidani a bunch of times, Boardwalk a whole mess of times. So for us, just where we were booking it, that particular issue of making sure I got, Animal Kingdom Lodge, for example, wasn't really that big of a deal. I've never really had a problem getting into Kidani, but I don't go during Christmas. That Christmas week, I don't go during July 4th. I don't go during Easter week. So it really depends. Sean's right. It really depends on where you're looking in terms of like when you typically go and whether that's going to be an issue or not.
Right.
So it may actually benefit you if you're not one of those people that go at peak seasons to buy into, like you do, or did, Mike, to buy into a lesser cost. Now, it's a lesser cost fee-wise, right? Not a lesser cost point-wise, or is it?
No, it depends on it depends on the resort, depending on how much per point it is. It does depend. Like I'm looking at a thing right now. Like, for example, Alani is about $110 per point. Bay Lake Tower is about $100 per point. Boardwalk Villas is about $80 per point.
Oh, wow.
Hilton Head is $50 per point. Old Key West is $70 per point. So it does depend. Now, don't forget the older resorts. That those contracts, quote unquote, run up a little bit earlier. so they don't last as long. So you buy, I think it was 50 years, Sean? I don't remember exactly the.
Yeah, it's 50 years from the opening of that particular resort. So right now, I forget what Bay Lake Tower is, 2063, I think.
Something like
Bay
that.
Lake Tower, something like that. Or 2060 it ends. And like Wilderness Lodge is 2042, I believe, or 2047, or something along those lines. I don't remember offhand. So yeah, you get 50 years. So, but if you buy resale now, you might only have 30 years left, depending on which resort you choose.
Yeah, like Old Key West, which is why it's, whatever I said it was, $70 per point or whatever. That probably runs up in about 2042 or 2043, something like.
But they also added an extension to Old Key West where it's 2057 as well. They did do an expansion. They extended the several years ago. You could purchase a 15-year extension for, I think it was like $25 a point or something like that. So they're starting to Disney now. If you purchase it through Disney for Old Key West, it's all going to be 2057. It's not going to be 2042 anymore. They're going to sell you the extra 15 years at Old Key West.
Okay.
So what's going to happen after when that contract expires?
Well, I mean, considering I'll be about 85 years old, I really don't care.
I mean, does it all start all over again? Does it?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
They're tearing them down and starting over.
They might. That's the thing. It's DVC is such a huge moneymaker for Disney. It brings in so much money that they can build these resorts and it's not costing them a penny. DVC members are paying for it. So these resorts need upkeep, and they're only going to last so many years. So they're probably just going to tear them down and rebuild a new resort.
Wow.
Makes the most sense.
Yeah. Look at Polynesian. That's there's rumors going on for years that they're going to knock it down because it's full of asbestos.
Oh wow!
I heard that a couple weeks ago. I was like, get out.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Oh my
goodness,
goodness.
Would make sense. Yeah, that would make sense.
Can you tell me?
That's a pretty old, built in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s when they built that. So,
you hear they're going to convert it to a DVC too. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, I'm dying for that. That's on my list.
Now, they're not. Are they planning on building onto the Polynesian, or is it just all going to then become a DVC?
I'm sure they would just build onto it.
Build onto it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do you guys? You guys have both been down there, I believe, since they started on Grand Floridian Villas. What do you guys think of where they're at and what it looks like so far?
You can go ahead, Sean, if you want.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of the Grand Floridian, first of all. But I got to say, I've seen the rooms for the Grand Floridian. They look really, really nice. The location is nice. I'd be more upset if I was getting married down there and having the building on top of where I was getting married, because it's pretty close to the wedding pavilion. But overall, it looks really nice. I mean, they're doing a great job with it, and I'm sure it's going to sell really well. But I'm just not going to buy any points there. It's just a little bit too pricey for me.
Yeah, it's the price they're charging. I don't remember what it was off the top of my head, but it's really high. And as I said before, I think if there's one tip that I can give anybody who's thinking about DVC is don't buy from Disney. Buy resale. It's a much better deal. I mean, you won't get into the Grand Floridian, but I mean, sooner or later you'll be able to book into the Grand Floridian. It may not be for another 10 years. But, I mean, the Grand Floridian does really nothing for me. It's not one of my favorite resorts. I don't really care. But it does look nice. Sean's right about the rooms. I'm sure they'll be nice. I don't know. I guess it doesn't have the problem that Bay Lake Tower does. I think you're pretty close to the amenities, even if they don't add any for the DVC wing. So, I mean, it should be pretty good.
Yeah. I know that, and I will say this: I'm going to go glass half, podcast half empty again.
Oh no!
I know, but it sitting on the beach at the Polynesian, it doesn't look good. It kind of takes away from the overall look of the lake and the Seven Seas Lagoon and what you used to be able to see looking at, like you said, Mike, the wedding pavilion over there. It kind of dwarfs the wedding pavilion, makes it look smaller and just not as attractive. It looks like somebody threw up a high rise in between the Polynesian. Now it still had all the scaffolding up and all of that. So I guess I'll wait to see what it looks like when it's finished. But I'm not loving it right now, especially where it's at. So that's all I got.
I was never a big fan of the Grand Floridian theming. I don't know what you guys feel about the hotel. It just seemed too stuffy for me. It was too.
I agree.
Yeah, it just wasn't real Disney. I don't know. It just was never my thing. I mean, I believe I've been to 1900 Park Fair, which I really like. And it's beautiful, but I just can't envision myself staying there, to be honest.
It doesn't appear to be relaxing to me.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think you hit it on the head. Yeah, I think it's right.
Yeah, I don't want to wear a jacket walking around the pool.
You're afraid to touch anything. I don't want to break it.
I mean, I probably should wear a jacket walking around a pool, but I'm not gonna. I'm just
around here. They throw me out of places like that, so that might be part of it.
Exactly.
Hey guys, we touched on this real quick. The the yearly fee you were talking about, is that like at a fixed amount? Does it like go with inflation? How's that part work?
Go ahead, Sean, if you want to answer that.
It pretty much goes, I don't want to say it goes with inflation, but typically on average is about 3 to 5%. It might go up to 7%, but there's a cap on it. I don't know exactly what the cap is offhand, but there is a cap, so it's not going to jump too high. Like Wilderness Lodge, I think is like $5.72, something like that around there. And Old Key West for me is, I think, like 20 cents cheaper. My numbers could be off, but that's basically
you're exactly right.
Okay. So that's what it is. Actually, the worst one is Vero Beach. I think they're around 7.
Yeah.
But they're also one of the cheapest to buy via resale as well. So you have to be real careful. You really got to look at your numbers. You might be able to get a great deal on points for Vero Beach, but you're going to be paying for it every year because of the higher maintenance fees. And you have to understand you're right on the ocean. So if a hurricane comes through, you might have they might get seriously damaged and they may have a special assessment. You might end up paying $10,000 to get the hotel repaired. It can happen at any one of the resorts, but that's definitely a possibility. More so at Vero Beach than the other ones.
Oh, I never heard that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Saratoga Springs is so appealing to me. I mean, it's relatively cheap in terms of the per points. I'm looking at it right now. Is like you can get $75 per point for whatever, and the maintenance fee is only $4.81, which is one of the cheaper ones too. Right. So combined, that in terms of total cost from soup to nuts, that might be the best one to get.
That's you know what? I'm just doing the quick math in my head. That really isn't bad. If you're talking about buying into it, you're looking at around, for 100 points, around $7,000. And you guys said that a little more than 100 points per week stay down there. I mean, that it's going to be paid off in less than 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, it could. It also depends on the time of year you're going. If you're going in the slower season, you're going to get more nights out of it. If you're going in Christmas, you might get 3-4 nights out of it.
Right.
Oh, so it does. The number of points per stay changes with the seasons as well. It's kind of like the value season and all that.
And also, you got to remember that depending on the resort, certain rooms have different points. So, like for example, at the Boardwalk, I know there's pool view. I know there's a standard view, which is a very small number of rooms, but they're much cheaper. You don't really look out anything, and they go like that. They're sold out fast. So it also depends on what the actual room is itself, what your view is, and all that kind of stuff too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and weekends are more as well. So, if you're staying at Old Key West in September, it might be 11 points on a Monday night, but it could be 17 points on Friday night.
Oh.
And come Christmas time, it could be 20 points on a Monday night and 30 points on a Friday night. So you just, for a studio, I should say. So it's gonna fluctuate throughout the whole year. There's I think 2 or 3 value times of year. September's a value season, January's value season, and I think the first 2 weeks of December the value season, and then everything else just goes up from there.
Yeah, it's something like that. I think you're right.
It sounds to me like you can really save and get a good value for what you're buying into, as long as you're doing it smartly and at the right times of the year.
Right.
So it can actually be pretty cheap for you to go.
Oh yeah.
If you have made the determination that you're going to Disney World or Disneyland, at least every other year, it'll pay for itself at some point. If that's what you're going to do for the rest of for the next 40 years, and I long ago made that decision, it's worth it, I think.
Now, can you use the DVC points on a Disney cruise?
You can, but it's not worth it.
Oh, why so?
Well, before you go any further, there are some downsides to purchasing resale as well. When Mike and I purchased, there were no restrictions on where you could use your points. Now, if you purchase via resale, there are restrictions. You can only use it at a DVC resort. You cannot use it on DVC. You can't use it on the cruise. You can't use it on the Disney collection. And the Disney collection would be, it was staying at like the Grand Floridian, staying at the Yacht Club. There's just a couple resorts you can actually use your points to stay at, but they were extremely high, and it would not work out for you to use your points to stay at a DVC resort. And you can also transfer them into RCI. I think it's RCI, I believe, and use it, in Cancun, in England, and in other parts of Hawaii, all over the world. So you're only going to get that benefit if you purchase it directly through Disney now.
That's true. Yeah, you can use your points for Adventures by Disney, right?
Actually, I don't know if you can.
I thought you. Well, at least when I bought it, I think you could.
Maybe you can. Yeah.
I've looked into the cruise, and the cruise the point use for a cruise is very, very high. I looked at it, and it really wasn't worth it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, you get a lot of points to go on a cruise. It's let's say it's 100. Let's say you use 100 points and stay a week at Old Key West. For a week on a Disney cruise, might be 200 points, and that might be in the slow season.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, well, have you ever tried doing it with the RCI, transferring it in there? Is that as good? Same thing? Is it not a good deal?
It depends, because I know people that have done it and has worked out. There's a $95 fee to do that. So at most it's going to cost you $95, but I do know people that have done it and they've loved it. They've gone to Cancun with it, and I think they've gone to St. Martin with it. And the points weren't that much more than using them at Disney World for the time of year that they went. So it actually wasn't too bad. And so they enjoyed it.
Okay.
Since I don't like you guys spelling around me, what is RCI?
I don't know what. Maybe I can Google it, but.
I figured it was another vacation timeshare deal.
It is. Yeah.
As far as I remember, the way Disney, if you purchased it through Disney, there's like 3 different ways you can purchase. You can purchase just your standard DVC. Then you could purchase that Disney one that you were talking about, Mike, where you could stay at all the other ones. And then there was one where it was like Disney International, where you could pick, if you like to go to New York City or you like to go to Paris and all of that stuff, where it was almost like Adventures by Disney, but it wasn't. It was just they had like partner resorts that you could stay at.
That's trading into RCI.
Right. Okay.
So you have to trade your points into that to use those to stay at those places.
Gotcha. What is the number one? Well, I mean, we've talked about a lot of the positives of being a DVC member. What's the number one negative?
Go ahead, Mike.
The negative would be, well, I think there are probably maybe a tie for first here. Number one is you're sort of restricted from staying. You have to sort of stay at DVC resorts, as Sean was saying before, to stay at the Yacht Club or to stay at like the Polynesian and use your points is just not worth it. I mean, it's just so many points to do that you sort of have to stay at, Boardwalk or Kidani Village, which is not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination, but it does limit your options a little bit. And number two is, you sort of have made the decision, and again, this is not necessarily a bad thing. You're going to Disney for the rest of your life, pretty much every year. So if next year I really want to go to, let's say, England, I got to say to myself, well, I mean, why would I go there when I have all these DVC points and I can pretty much go to Disney and stay there, at least the hotel room? I mean, I've already paid for it. Why am I going somewhere else? So, you do sort of limit yourself in terms of your vacation options. That's probably the worst thing. And like I said, to me, that's not really such a bad thing. I love going to Disney. I'll go there every year for the rest of my life. But maybe it might not be for everybody.
Yeah, you definitely hit it on the nail on the head. You're invested into your vacations for the next 40, 50 years, and you just have to be willing to accept that. Granted, you could rent your points to somebody, but a lot of people, some people don't want the hassle of doing that. So you just have to be willing to accept that, that's where you are going. But there's a few other smaller drawbacks as well, because you also have to remember you do not have room service. I mean, maid service. They're not going to come in and make your bed every day. They're not going to come in and change your towels every day.
It's like once a week.
Yeah, I think it's every 4 days on the fourth day.
Okay.
Fourth and eighth day, I think it is. But they're never going to make your bed. So if you're one of those people that wants your bed made you want to walk out and have somebody make your bed, it's not going to happen. Not unless Tinkerbell comes in and magically makes your bed. It's not happening.
Well, that's why I've trained my children to make towel animals. So whenever I come home from work, there's a towel animal. No.
Whenever I stay at DVC, I always ask for. I'll call up housekeeping and ask for like some extra towels and stuff because they won't. As Sean was saying, not only do they not make your bed, but you don't get new towels. You don't get all that kind of stuff either.
Right. Shampoo. That's all. It's all extra. If you want extra towels, a lot of times you're going to be charged for it. If you want extra shampoo, you're going to be charged for it. The only thing you're not going to be charged extra for is extra garbage bags.
But that's kind of the whole idea of a vacation club anyway. It's almost like a condominium where you can bring your own food. You have the ability to cook in your room. I know I stayed at the Disney Hilton Head, and we got a two-room villa it was ridiculous. It was like $139. It was just ridiculous. It was off season, and they just about wouldn't let me leave. They go, we can give it to you for this. And I was like, it's a little bit too much. And he goes, well, wait. And I got a 2-bedroom for I think what the cost of a studio would have been, and it is very, very homey. You've got a kitchen, you've got a living room, you've got different spaces where the kids can go in one room, you're in another room. It's very, very homey.
Right. That's the idea.
So, right. Yeah. So, I mean, you wouldn't have, although my wife would love to have a maid come in and take care of our house every day. But,
you can pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can get that as an extra service.
You can. I think like a studio. I think if you want a maid to come in, it's like $40. I think, and it goes up from there. 1 bedroom's could be a lot more. 2 bedroom would be more. But you can pay to have someone come in. But if you're staying there, you're not going to want to do that. I don't think it happens that very often. There's really no need for it. I mean, it's like staying in your house. I mean, personally, I don't really like someone having to come in my room and make my bed or change the sheets or put fresh towels, especially this day and age. You have so many gadgets that are worth thousands and thousands or hundreds of dollars. You don't want somebody coming in and stealing anything either. So, there's more security with the DVC. Everything in there. No one's going to come in there until the 4th day. If you want them to come in, because you can call them and say, I don't want you to come in, just leave the stuff outside the door, and they'll just leave it outside the door and you'll get it when you come back to your room.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, I have to ask the hard question because I think I know the answer, but I'm not 100% sure. If Disney offers free dining, is that offered to you guys as well?
No.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, nope.
It's a drawback, but but there are other benefits because you do get a discount on an annual pass as well. So we get the Florida resident rate for the annual pass. So you get to save a little bit of money there if that's something you want to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, every once in a while they offer like a really nice discount on the annual pass. I got a premium annual pass for this year for $3.99.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Great.
Wow.
Great deal.
I jumped on that. So every once in a while, something like that, as Sean was saying, something like that comes along, and you know, it sort of helps out. With the free
Yeah. That's very nice. Now the premium annual pass, that's the one that gets you into Disneyland as well, isn't it?
No,
Is that the one? No.
The premium is the one that gets you not only the 4 parks, but you could do Disney Quest, you could do the water parks.
Okay.
All that stuff is included. It's not just the 4 parks.
Gotcha. Now, where in California can you stay? Where at Disneyland can you stay with the DVC?
It's the Grand Californian.
Oh, okay.
Yep. There's very few rooms though. It's very tough to get into.
Gotcha. Now, what about Disneyland Paris? No, there's nothing over there.
No, there's no DVC. I think you can trade points in and use it there, but you're also required to purchase passes for your length of stay. So if you're there for 5 days, you need to purchase 5 days worth of passes because they don't want you using your resort to walk around and see Paris.
They want you going to those parks. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Disney's smart. They know what they're doing.
Spend your money here, not there.
Right.
That's right.
Are there other perks involved with being a DVC member that maybe they don't advertise? That
there's less and less. You used to get free valet parking. Used to get free internet. Now everybody has free internet. I don't know what other perks are going on right now. They have. I don't know, Mike. Do you know any?
I could think of one. You can get into the top of the world at the top of Bay Lake Tower.
That's true, yes.
Only DVC members can go in there.
Oh, I'd love to see that. I used to go to the old top of the world. My parents would order like the pink monorail drink, the red monorail drink.
Oh, really?
Yes, back in the day. I'm going way back.
So that's
did you just throw your parents under the bus? They're lushes. Is that what you just got done saying?
No, they didn't drink a whole lot, but when they were there, they did have a monorail. And actually, we got to see Barbara Eden perform up at the top of the world once or twice.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I dream of Jeannie.
And then there was a another duo like Skiles and Henderson, a comedy thing. They were actually very funny from what I remember. Yes. But I'm going way back.
Yeah, Barbie's going back.
Anyway, let's go back here to 2013. Tangent alert went off there for a second.
Yeah, really. What is so? Each of you, what is your favorite DVC resort?
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I mean, I think that's.
You had to ask him, didn't you?
Consider I write about it on my website. I'd have to go Kidani Village. I just love it.
I am shocked.
I mean, it's flawed. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there are some flaws to it, but it's. I just love the atmosphere. I just love being there. I love Sanaa. I love, I just love it.
Well, can I just say, I want to, and then Sean, you could tell us yours, but we're all Disney fanatics, and I find that the more we go, the more we find wrong. And a lot of people, this might be their only trip down there, and it's not flawed to them. So I understand what you're saying as far as the flaws, but I bet you most people never even see them.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only flaw that I would say with Kidani Village is there's no counter service, which is a bit of a problem. Right. I mean, you have to go all the way over to Jambo House, not all the way over, but you have to go over to Jambo House to have a counter service. All they have it's just sort of like a drink station in their gift shop, and they have Sanaa, which is a phenomenal restaurant. It's one of my favorites on property. But it would be nice to have a place where you could just grab a quick bite in the middle of the afternoon.
They don't have over at the pool. They don't have anything over at the pool, huh?
Well, I think they're actually starting to serve a couple of things over at the pool, but it's not like the Mara at Jambo House, which is just like phenomenal counter service.
Love the Mara.
It
was very good.
Yeah, so, I mean, few of the restaurants have a very good counter services. I can't think of another DVC resort off the top of my head except for Bay Lake Tower that doesn't have any type of counter service.
Well, Old Key West they have very limited counter service. Yeah. It's so small. There's no place to sit except for things like 3 or 4 benches outside.
That's true.
So it's very limited there.
So, Sean, what's your favorite DVC resort?
It's the villas at Wilderness Lodge. They are absolutely 100% my favorite resort. A lot of people think it's dark or dated. I don't think it's dated at all. That's the style. It's a lodge. It's not supposed to be bright and cheery. It's supposed to be a little more dark, a little more earthy. So, and I love the ability to take the boat to the Magic Kingdom because we spent so much time there. Even before I had my son, we spent a lot of time in the Magic Kingdom. It's at nighttime. It's an amazing feeling being able to take that boat back from the Magic Kingdom and look back and just enjoy it and just escape into that world. And Wilderness Lodge brings me to that fantasy, and I just love the lodge. It just escapes. You really, honestly, do not feel like you're in Florida when you're staying there. There's pine trees, so you can feel like you're in a lodge in the Midwest. So that's my favorite by far.
I agree.
I'd stay there. Yeah.
I agree 100%. When you're at the Wilderness Lodge, you feel like you're in the Pacific Northwest,
yeah.
and when you're at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, you feel like you're in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It just takes you away. The Polynesian, I think, because you can see the Magic Kingdom across the lake there, but even that really takes you away from where you're at, which is very cool.
The Wilderness Lodge is the one DVC resort that I have not stayed at that I'm dying to stay at. We're going to really try to get in there. We tried this. Speaking of limited ability, we tried to get there over the Columbus Day weekend, and we couldn't get into the Wilderness Lodge, so we kind of had to rework our plans a little bit. But that's the one I really, really want to try to stay at. It looks terrific. I mean, I've been to the Wilderness Lodge. I've eaten at Artist Point and Whispering Canyon and all that kind of stuff. But it's just a beautiful resort.
What about you,
Mike,
Sean?
Did you hold on? Did you waitlist there at all, or no? We didn't even go over waitlisting, but
no, we just tried it. They said they had nothing available, so we said, all right, well, we moved around a little bit, so we went to Kidani, and then we decided, sort of as a family, we're going to spend a couple of nights at the Polynesian instead, and we're doing our Mickey's Not So Scary while we're at the Polynesian. So
okay, that's nice. That's great.
Oh, very nice.
Maybe when we do Star Wars weekends next year, we'll try to sneak into the Wilderness Lodge.
Right. just to go over the wait list real quick. Let's just say you're booking at your home resort between 11 and 7 months. So Wilderness Lodge is one of my home resorts. So I'll book there at 11 months, and come 7 months, maybe I want to try to stay at the boardwalk. If it's available, I'll book it. But if it's not, I can try to wait list there. And they have a wait list up to 30 days or up to 7 days. And when you waitlist up to 30 days, if your waitlist at any point, if your waitlist comes through, you're automatically going to be booked at that particular resort. But if it's within 30 days, you'll also have to understand that if you're staying at a resort that costs more points, and you have a waitlist that's, let's say, 7 days, if you're staying at a resort that costs you 100 points, going to a resort that's 80 points, and your waitlist comes through at 7 days, you have those 20 extra points or so that are going to go into a holding account. And that those points that are in a holding account, you can't put back into your account. Those points that are in holding have to be used for another vacation that you have to book at within a 60-day period from check-in. So you can't do it 3 months out, 4 months out, 5 months out. You have to do it within 60 days of when you were going to check in for holding. And the same thing goes for if you cancel your trip within 30 days. All your points go into a holding account, and you have to wait till 60 days prior to your checking in to use those points.
Sean brings up a good point here. It's reminded me of something. And one thing that I think people who get the DVC have to be aware of is that you can borrow from the previous year's points. So if you have, let's say 2011, you didn't use all your points, you can kick them into 2012. And if you, in 2012, if you want to borrow from 2013, you could do that. But once you do that, that's a done deal. Yep. You can't go back on it. So you can't, let's say, book a trip for 2012 and move your points from 2013 to this year, or to 2012, I should say, and then decide, maybe we'll go in 2013. It's too. I mean, you once you make that deal, you're stuck with it.
But that's not a bad deal if you're going to, maybe have a big family trip down there where you want to get a 2-bedroom or a couple of rooms. Can you get more than one room?
Sure,
Yes.
and in fact, that kind of problem happened for me, and I'll relay a little story. We were going to take 2 rooms, and we were going down, myself and my family as well as my parents. And our use year is in September, so every September, your points change. We were going in August, so only a month away from the new use year. So we had borrowed points from the next year. We pulled them into this year to go. My mom became ill, but thank God, she's fine now, but she couldn't go. So we were trying to cancel cancel that one room. We had to use those points in that 30 days, and which obviously was impossible. I lost those points. So, you got to be cognizant of that kind of, borrowing and delaying your points. It can backfire.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's another thing when picking your use year. There's so many technicalities with it. When picking your use year, you typically don't want a vacation in the last 4 months of your use year. So like Mike lost it in August. So from, was that May forward, he really shouldn't use his points unless he knows he's definitely going to vacation. Because you have to bank your points. You have up to 4 months before your use year ends. Your new use year begins to bank those points. Otherwise, you have to use them or you lose them.
Is everybody's use year the same, or is it like a calendar year? Is it when you sign up?
No, mine's September.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's March.
Okay, so it changes depending when you sign up. Okay.
Right.
Are there any like tax considerations for being in the DVC, like positive or negative?
Go ahead, Sean. You can answer that if you want.
I've heard that you can write some of it off, but unless you have a lot of points, I don't think you might write off $30, $40. I really don't think it's that much.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. I really don't get any real tax benefit from it.
Okay.
Now, what's the deal with the you can transfer your points over to your children? Is that right? That you can do that if you decide we're done, we're just going to give these to our other family?
Yeah, you can. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I mean, that way you're there. Yeah.
I have my points until I'm, like I said, 85 or whatever it is. I mean, I plan on being a relatively spry 85, but I'm not sure.
Dashing for fast passes.
Not sure if I'm going to be that spry. So maybe my 2 children will have it by then.
Oh, they're not going to have fast passes by then.
It'll just read the chip in the back of your head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The barcode on your wrist.
Give us, we're getting close to wrapping up the show. So what overall, the good, bad, and the bad and the ugly of DVC, real quick.
Well, the good is you get to stay there for every year for the rest of your, for the next 40 something years. You pretty much have your trips paid for after a few years, that at least the resort itself, and obviously not the park passes or the food, but at least that's taken care of. You're not spending the money on whatever resort it is. The bad, I guess, is you're sort of, like I said before, sort of locked into Disney trips, and your flexibility is kind of limited even within Disney itself. Now, as for the ugly, that's a tough one. Well, I can tell you this. I stayed at the Boardwalk in August, and we had a leaking roof, a sink that wouldn't go down, no deck furniture, and mold on our painting. That was pretty ugly.
Oh, ooh.
Wow.
Wow.
Ooh.
However, we called and complained. As soon as we got home, we called DVC and complained about it, and they gave us a couple of nights points back free. They gave us
very nice
or something like that. They said, we're sorry, and we'll give you 30 points.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And, that's also a drawback to people renting DVC points, because if you're going to rent points from an owner and you're going to have an issue, they're not going to necessarily work with you as well as they are going to be the owner of the points. So they might refund points back to the owner, but you as a person who's rented it, you might not get anything out of that. The owner might not necessarily give you money back.
Ooh, that's a good tip.
There's no guarantee with that.
That's true. But renting points is not a terrible option. I've never done it myself, but I know people who do it, and you could rent them for I've seen about $12, $13 a point.
Right.
So, figure that out in terms of, what that's going to cost you for a week's vacation. If you need 100 points, it's going to cost you, $1,200. Did I figure that out right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be cheaper than a lot of places at Disney. So, I mean,
and much better accommodations.
Yeah, you do have the drawback, as Sean said, if you really have no accountability from Disney. There's nobody to really report to or complain to, like I did with the issue at Boardwalk.
Mm-hmm.
But you could stay at Kidani Village for a week for that money. That's not terrible.
That's not bad at all.
No, not at all. Now, are all the resorts over at Kidani, are they Savannah View, or all the rooms, I should say?
No, not all of them. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Sean, what about your good, bad, and ugly?
Well, the good is that I know where I'm going on vacation next year.
Always.
It's right now my countdown is I'm at I think like 10 months and 2 days for my next trip, so I know when I'm going. And I enjoy Disney World, so it's I can be a kid again there. I can escape from this world. I can leave New Jersey behind me, and be in Florida in the sun, have some fun. And then just enjoy everything. So that's the good thing. It's there. It's Disney, and you know what you're going to get when you get there. It's not like going to an island somewhere, never being there before. You not know what you're going to get. At least in Disney World, you know what you're going to get every year, for the most part. The bad is, sometimes it's the crowds that you have to deal with. You've talked about it on your previous podcast, people stepping in front of you, rude guests. There's a lot of people that feel they are entitled. They feel like they're the only people in Disney World, so their vacation should be perfect. I can understand you're spending money, but, sometimes being around other people ruins your experience. And that can happen a lot in Disney World, especially if it's really, really hot. Everybody gets grumpy when it's hot. So that could be some of the bad, dealing with that. And the buses. Sometimes the buses are really bad. Even at certain resorts more than others. And the ugly, it's hard.
Bay Lake Tower?
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I feel bad for the people that have bought there. They cut some corners on that place, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys were going to tell us about the issues of Bay Lake Tower.
Yeah.
What I have heard is the rooms are smaller. That's number one. But probably most importantly, you are far away from any amenities. You have a long walk if you want to go get something to eat, something to drink, the store. There's nothing in the tower itself for you. In terms of getting food or anything like that. That was the biggest complaint I've heard.
Wow.
Yeah, well, a lot of people. I think originally, there was something with the doors not opening right, or you can only open the door a certain way and it wouldn't work going into the bathroom or something like that. There were pipes leaking. There was wallpaper coming off the walls within the first year.
Oh wow.
The furniture was falling apart within the first year. So. You just feel bad for the owners there. So I mean, that's some of the ugliness you feel bad for.
Yeah, you pay for the view. I mean, that's all it is. The Bay Lake Tower is view. It has nothing
that's
else
all it is.
Of anything really.
Right.
And
top of the world. That's it.
Well, and initially, Top of the World was only for Bay Lake View people, and now it's open for anybody at DVC. So they even took that away.
Yeah, It's because nobody was going.
Right.
There's been people I've heard people say that there's been only 3 people in there to see the fireworks before they opened it up.
Right.
So
wow,
that's amazing.
It's a better crowd now, so that's a good thing. I haven't experienced that yet, but I've been up there, but I haven't been up there for the fireworks yet.
Yeah, that's got to be beautiful to watch the fireworks from up there.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question too. I've stayed at again being a little bit half empty here. I've stayed at the All-Stars during an event where there were a lot of kids, and it was chaos. Don't ever want to go there when that event is going on again. What is it like? I know I've been over to the Fort Wilderness campgrounds, and it's like it's a small community. campers are all a small community. Is that the same kind of thing that you guys find with the DVC owners? Is everybody kind of like mind, if you will?
I guess to a degree. I mean, it sort of depends on the resort, I think. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Sean, but I mean, some of them are more DVC oriented than others. Like, for example, Saratoga Springs is pretty much all DVC, but Jumbo House at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, a very small portion of it is DVC. I don't know how it is at the Wilderness Lodge. You're kind of off in your own wing, right?
Yeah, you are, and a majority of the people are vacation club people. Right. But I've talked to a lot more members at Old Key West than I have anywhere else, because there's a lot of people that it's more of an older. There's a lot of an older crowd at Old Key West, and they'll stay there for a month at a time. So I've had many conversations with people at Old Key West, and like, oh, you a member? Yeah, so you'll talk on the bus or on a boat ride somewhere, and just talk about your experiences. They'll talk about how they've taken their kids for the last 20 years to Old Key West, and how much they've loved it, and they're looking forward to taking their grandkids. Like as Mike said, certain resorts you're gonna get more of that community feel. But like every Wednesday, there's Welcome Home Wednesday at the boardwalk where members can go and meet other members, and they play games and drink the Kool-Aid. So, it is. It's you. Yeah. You have to. Sometimes you have to just go where the members are as well.
I've never done one of those Welcome Home Wednesdays.
I haven't. I have not.
I always want to be at the park.
Yeah, exactly. It's in the middle of the day. It's either pool time or the park time.
Yeah, I'm usually at the Animal Kingdom. See, I brought it back to Animal Kingdom just like I said I was gonna.
Well, I know thanks to you guys and the other DVC members, whenever you pull into the resort now, everybody gets welcomed home. So yes. That was very cool. Every time we'd pull into the Animal Kingdom Lodge, the guy at the little hut there would say, "Welcome home."
Right.
And it is home to me, so yeah, I love hearing it.
I know.
Awesome.
I should have bought in years ago, but of course, when you first start going, you don't know. You don't know that you're going to go every year, and I've been there every year. It would have more than paid for itself for me by now.
Yeah, well, that's what happened with me. I in 2008 is when we purchased it, but my wife and I were going. Our first trip was in 2003 before we got married. We got married in 2004, but we were going every year. I mean, it took us 5 years to realize, well, I wanted to do it. My wife was like, no, we're not going to go every year. And it turns out we're going every year. So right. She's happy that we did buy in. And,
I have pretty much the same story. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Except I got married a lot earlier than Sean. We got married in 1998. But after we had kids in 2001, we started going every year around 2003.
Okay.
And, my wife was actually the one, let's get it. I'm like, it's a lot of money. I don't know. And then, we finally decided to buy it. And we made the right choice.
See, Tim and I are very similar as far as our wives are concerned. We had to convert them to
yes.
We had to force the Kool-Aid into them because they were not Disney fans originally, and every year, at least for me, we would talk about where are we going to go on vacation, and my wife would always come up with all kinds of different places, and then I would eventually steer her back to Disney World. That made it a little bit tougher to make that commitment. So
yeah, we would look at the brochure in the room and say, would we do this? And we're like, well, we probably won't come back next year. We'll probably come back, maybe every couple years or so, and it ended up being every year for the most part. And
it's never too late. You can join. You can join us. It's a cult.
Well, we've talked about that too. Now we got the son going off to college pretty soon in like a year or so, and we're thinking this might not be the best call at this point in our family.
The grandkids and bringing them down.
Oh, bringing in the heartstrings. Very nice.
I mean, when all the kids are off to college, where are you guys going to go on vacation anyway? You're going to go to Disney World anyway.
That or the cruise, absolutely.
Yeah, so...
Okay, I got to mute him right now.
That's it. We're out.
Yeah, right.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we do this? Why don't we all go down together? We'll use Mike's points.
Okay.
And we'll have a great time at Kidani Village.
I love it.
Let's do it.
You don't even have to go, Mike. You just have to book the room.
Have the bread service at Sanaa for me.
That was the one I wish we would have gotten to Sanaa. That we ended up not getting a chance to go to Sanaa. But my son's so finicky about his, the eating that we did not get to enjoy that. So,
I guess no restaurant Marrakesh for you either, huh?
No. Let me tell you a real quick story before we wrap up here. My daughter wanted to spend a lot of time at the different World Showcase countries, and my son beeline for the American Adventure, and I said, well, we'll just split up. You guys grab some lunch. We'll grab some lunch. So of course my son wanting his burgers and chicken wings and all that, or chicken tenders. So we ended up eating at Liberty Square there, or whatever it is, at American Adventure, and my wife and daughter ate at Le Chefs de France. So yeah, they got to eat really good, and I had a cheeseburger. So the sacrifices we make for our children.
But did you at least go and have? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, try to get them to Restaurant Marrakesh next time. It's underrated. You'll like it.
Yeah, I tell you, that's what I hear. Everybody says it is a very good place to eat, and nobody really pays attention to it.
It's pretty.
It's a good place, and the baklava is excellent.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. My wife and I are once the kids are off to college, we're planning on going down and just taking our time and really, that's as far as I can afford to take her around the world. So,
World Showcase, that's good enough.
That's exactly.
There's worse places to go.
That's right. Right. Well, that's all I have, Tim.
No, absolutely. I think we did a great episode. I think we answered a lot of questions.
I'm sure you guys might have more. Some of your listeners might have more. We can always come back on again and answer those questions, or get a list of questions from some of the listeners that we can answer them for them. Because I know that we didn't go over everything. There's things that we missed, but
sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We didn't even talk about like the beach club or anything like that.
Oh my goodness.
No, there's so many. There's great things at almost all the resorts.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there's 7 DVC resorts, if I'm not mistaken. I think.
I think so.
There's a wide variety. So there's Beach Club, Wilderness, Animal Kingdom, Saratoga Springs. So you could be right by downtown Disney. You could be right by Epcot. You could be right by Animal Kingdom. You could be right by Magic Kingdom. There's really a wide variety for you to choose from.
Right.
Which is always nice.
Sounds like there's something.
Different. Each resort is for different types of people. So. Yeah. There's nothing better than at the end of the day, you've had a few drinks, walking around World Showcase and walking back to your room at the boardwalk. It's nice and easy.
Oh, absolutely.
And Beach Club is even better. It's even closer.
Yeah, that's true. We did stay in that place once. Out the door and to your left. It's outstanding.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So, love the Epcot resorts.
Absolutely. So if anybody has any questions, send them to us on Facebook, Twitter, anything, and we'll see if we can throw together another episode. I think that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
And since you guys are over in you guys are both in New Jersey, we're both in Ohio, I say we meet halfway and spend a week at Alani.
Oh, you need a globe.
What are we doing in Allentown, Pennsylvania?
Oh, we're living there in Allentown.
Oh, wow.
I had to do it. But I think we better wrap up the show, Bob. What do you think?
Definitely. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Great information, yeah.
I'm sure we'll do this again.
No problem.
Anyway.
And listen, before we let you guys go, where can everybody find you, Mike?
Sure. You can find me. My website is dedicated to the Animal Kingdom and the Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is a DVC resort, at johnboeveryone.com. And you can find me on Twitter at johnboeveryone. And we also have a Facebook page, too.
Excellent. And Sean, where can we find you?
As 1 Minute Disney Dream, you can find me on Twitter at 1min, M-I-N, Disney Dream, or you can check out my website at mouseworldvacations.com, and I'd love to help you book a vacation. That's it.
Sounds great. Sean's a great guy. Contact him.
Yep. Mike, thanks so much. Sean, thanks so much. And you guys can find us on Facebook /Resort Loop, and I'm Resort Loop Bob on the Twitter. And we always forget to throw out our email if anybody wants to email us. I'm Bob at ResortLoop.com.
Yeah, I'm Tim at ResortLoop.com, and I'm also on the Twitter at ResortLoopTim. And you can also listen to us on the Stitcher. We always like to throw that out, the Stitcher.
We appreciate it.
Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. This is the Gateway to the Magic, ResortLoop.com.
See you, everybody.
Kajagoogoo, we're done.
And let's record.
That was a pretty good dry run. Oh, we're living there in Allentown.
Oh, wow.
I had to do it.
Wow. Little John Cougar. Very nice.
What?
That is John Cougar, isn't it?
No.
Wasn't that? No?
Billy Joel.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that was Billy Joel.
Oh.
See, this is why I can't do this alone. You have to correct me at every turn.
No. Awesome.
Very good. You can edit that out.
We'll see. I doubt it.
I doubt it.